Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Helium 10 Weekly Buzz. My name is Bradley Sutton, and this is the show where we get you familiar with the latest news in the Amazon and e-commerce space. We interview people in the industry you need to hear from and provide a training tip of the week that will give you serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. Let's see what's buzzing this week. First of all, overall, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to talk about a second Prime Day. We're going to have an interview with a Helium 10 Elite member. And we're also going to talk about what do you do if your sales are down or you think your sales are down. How many of you guys out there see that question like 17 times a day in like a Facebook group or something? Well, we're going to talk about some easy ways to kind of be able to know if your sales are down without actually having to, be looking in Facebook groups and things like that. So to get started, let's go ahead and start with the news. So the first article we're going to talk about today was actually dropped by CNBC. And it's about a second Prime Day that is coming. So if you guys noticed, we talked about this in the Facebook group as well. If you look at the Lightning Deals page in your Amazon Seller Central account, you might have noticed a blurb on the top saying, hey guys, submit deals now for this second fall Prime Day. All right. And you have until July 22nd to submit them. So the CNBC article talked about how it looks like, there might be a second Prime Day in Q4 this year to boost sales. And so this is something to look out for. I don't think in recent memory, not that I know of, I've never seen two Prime Days in 1 year. Obviously, the first Prime Day is coming up on July 12th of this year. So what do you guys think of that? Second Prime Day. So I think for sellers out there, the important thing to do is to make sure that you have enough inventory. And if you are going to run a lightning deal, try and really gauge your inventory because, this Prime Day might come up right before the key holiday shopping season. And you don't want to run out, by Black Friday or things like that. So second Prime Day, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. The second news article of the day that we're going to talk about is actually from Seller Central. This came out last week and saw some buzz about it in the Helium 10 Facebook groups because a lot of people, we don't like change a lot. And this is about the send to Amazon. All right. Now you guys know when you send and replenishment orders that there's this flow that we've been kind of using for years, right? And for the last few months, there's been this kind of like optional flow you could take, but most of us have been opting out. But the news article that came out last week in Seller Central said, send to Amazon, which is the new flow, is going to replace the send replenish inventory. And you're not going to have a chance to revert. And this is on September 1st. So I'm just curious. Most of the sellers I talk to, they switch back to the old flow. We're creatures of habit, right? Like I myself, when I send my inventory in, I couldn't figure out that new flow. So I switched back to old flow. I'm wondering how many of you guys out there are actually already using the new flow. One thing that I saw in the Facebook groups that people are having issue with is like being able to send LTL on one shipment to one location and like a palletized one to another. Like I heard that the new flow doesn't allow that. Now, me personally, that doesn't affect me because I always just pretty much send LTL everything. But let me know if you're watching this on YouTube in the comments below or on Facebook. What are the main issues, if any, that you guys have with the new send to Amazon flow and how many are already switched to it? The last article is actually from Amazon advertising. They launched this news article last week saying sponsored display product targeting has evolved to contextual targeting. So let me just read from the article here because you might not understand what that means. Basically, it says, evolving sponsored display product targeting to contextual targeting, allowing advertisers to reach more of their audiences at more points in their shopping and entertainment journey. The contextual targeting strategy will now allow advertisers to reach audiences both in the Amazon store and outside the Amazon store when customers view content related to targeting strategies. Advertisers do not need to change their targeted products or categories to enable a new feature. Sponsored display will find the right opportunities to expand advertiser reach beyond the store to web pages and mobile pages. Now, it's interesting. I highly suggest going to advertising.amazon.com or checking in YouTube the link that we're going to put for this in the advertising blog. But it's kind of interesting now, and it raises some questions like, should we be monitoring more closely our bids and budgets on sponsored display ads? Maybe this is going to give it more exposure, more clicks, and thus we might run out of budget more. But instead of just, showing up maybe on product pages, now there's going to be more placements for our sponsored display ad. So definitely check that article out and let me know what you guys think of that. Is this help? Is this something that you think is going to hurt you in any way, like in your ACOS or things like that, your tacos? Let us know in the comments below. All right, that's it for the news for this week. So let's go ahead and now have an interview with one of our Helium 10 elite members. Let's go ahead and bring him up. Anton. There we go. Anton, how's it going?
Good, good. I'm doing well, thanks.
All right, where are you located?
Toronto area, Canada.
Toronto, okay. Have we
Yeah.
ever met in person, you and I?
Oh, I don't think so. Not yet, but in Vegas,
Okay, good.
I think.
You could have said anything, and I would have had to go with it because my memory is so bad. I could have
That's
met
cool.
you yesterday and be like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm pretty sure you met so many people like around you.
No, it's not that. It's just my memory. Anyways, how long have you been selling on Amazon?
So it's been around 4 years. Yeah, something like that.
How did you get started? Like, how did you find out about the opportunity of selling on Amazon?
Yeah, so it was kind of random story. I used to do construction work like most of the Canadians. I came in Canada like 9 years ago. Used to do construction for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Then one of my buddy, like he moved to where it was like Hollywood. It's a Miami area, right?
You have a
You're from
Hollywood
there.
in
That in Miami,
Canada?
like no, Hollywood in Miami,
the
like
Miami
in the
Hollywood.
States.
Okay,
Yeah,
that I know. Okay.
yeah. So he invited me to visit him. So I showed up. Like I saw him packing the small bags in the like huge amounts in the huge amount of boxes, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go to UPS drop these boxes off." Like, what are you doing, like, buddy? He's like, "Oh, I started doing some Amazon stuff." Okay, that's weird. I'm like, okay, half year later, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. How you doing, by the like, with your business? He's like, yeah, pretty good. Oh, really? I thought it was a kind of scam, joke, like selling stupid like money belts for travelers. The quality was bad, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should start thinking differently, like because definitely I doing the hard job and low amount of money, and that guy just sitting there, making some profits like every day for just waiting. And it was back in 2018. Amazon was much easier than these days.
So then, did
that's
you
for
start
sure.
in Amazon Canada or Amazon USA?
No, he asked me to help him out with that business.
Oh,
to
on
learn.
his business.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I relocated to Miami for a few months.
Okay.
Started learning, and then I go back to Canada and started a company and doing my own stuff.
So is that in Canada or only selling in Amazon USA still?
No, he yeah, he used to be there, but later on the government didn't give him another visa. He was on the visa there. He's not a citizen, and so he has to come back to Canada, and then he moved back to Russia. So
and then you stole his business and took it over for yourself.
Kind of,
huh?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know about the example we're setting here for everybody watching the show, but hey, be in the right place.
No, I didn't solve. We're still partners. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much with your account with your partner, like how much in gross sales did you do last year?
So last year was pretty good. Like it was around 1 mil in US. Yeah, just the US market. Yeah.
How long have you been an elite Helium 10 elite member?
I've been an elite member for like few months already, like maybe half year. But I just recently, yesterday, I was approved to the Facebook group because I don't know, I missed that somehow.
Yeah, that's one of the big benefits is to be in the Facebook group. So have you just been like attending the virtual workshops with Kevin King and watching the replays?
Yeah, watching replays.
Okay. Well, what's one of the like benefits you've seen? Like what like kind of like strategy or something did you get? Can you remember from like Elite that really has helped you?
It's about like social media. Yeah, I'm still kind of bad on this, and I definitely applied some strategies from the elite members. So yeah, social media and outsourcing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So
well, what's your
how
about you yourself? Just your own strategy, your own Anton strategy here. So what is something you can share with the listeners out there of something that's worked for you that you think maybe not every Amazon seller knows about or uses?
So yeah, definitely, not to drop your hands. And when you see the slow down on sales, that's what happened to me. Be more focused. That's for sure. Have to be staying focused and just searching and doing your thing. Focusing on your own business. Don't look much on the competitors. Don't look much on the other niches. Just stay focused for a while, and that will bring you benefits for sure. Like, just have to be patient and focused. That's my main concern. What I'm trying to do for myself, because I seen as everybody else seen the drops in sales, and I'm like, was in panic for months maybe, and then I'm like, okay, buddy,
All right.
just be patient. Yeah,
stick to it and don't get
stick
discouraged
to the plan.
and be focused. All right. All right. Well, Anton,
Yeah.
will I be seeing you in September, Sell and Scale Summit?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll see you
Yeah. I'll
there.
meet you in
And you
person.
got to make sure to come to my Zumba class over there as well. All right. I'll play a
Yeah.
Russian song. We'll dance to a Russian song for you. All right.
All right. Sounds great.
All right. We'll talk to you later then.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. All right, guys. Now, that actually brings us to our tip of the day. And I had no idea what he was going to talk about. We didn't practice this. That's the first time I met him. But he talked about, hey, a lot of us think by, maybe our sales are down. And so for our tip of the day, I want to just give some kind of like easier, strategies here to know, like, are your sales down? How many times have we heard this in Facebook groups where somebody says, hey, my sales are down today. Anybody else? Or I'm down this quarter. Anybody else? Like, come on, guys. Like if I had $1 for every time I've seen that, like maybe I wouldn't have to have a salary here at Helium 10. Like we literally see that like 5-10 times a day in different Facebook groups. So what are some different ways where that you don't have to go and wonder, are your sales down? There's actual ways that you can see. Well, I'm going to share my screen here for those of you watching this on YouTube. And if you're following along on the podcast, I'll try and describe it as well as I can. But like, for example, here's our coffin shelf, our Project X. And actually, the sales this quarter is kind of just up and down day by day, but it's fairly steady. It's not like it's just, we see some big declining thing. But let's say you do see a declining thing just one day. Like here on May 16th, we had 0 sales, or maybe there is a week where it seems our sales are down. And so normally what people would do is like, hey guys, is our sales down? Well, here's a couple ways. Even if you don't have a paid Helium 10 account, guys, if you have the free Helium 10 Chrome extension, you just go to helium10.com/extension and download it for free, and then run X-ray or run the BSR chart on any Amazon listing. Like, for example, here is our BSR history chart. BSR kind of like tells you where you are in relation to your competitor. So if your BSR chart like this for the last month, as you can see here, is pretty steady, regardless of if your, like gross sales are up or down, that you're pretty much steady with the rest of the market. Now, if because here's the thing, your sales could go way up, but if your BSR is also going up, the number is going up, that means that you're probably losing your market share. So we can't just look at the gross sales are up or down to kind of like know, how our performance is overall. But what you do is you just go to these BSR charts with the free Helium 10 account and compare your BSR to the history of your competitor's BSR. Like here's a competitor's BSR, and it looks like he's been kind of going from 100,000 to 118,000, and now he's at 98,000. So we would compare that to our BSR, and we're at 150,000 going to 200,000. And so, yeah, like we're obviously not number one in this coffin shelf niche for the last month, but you would be looking at those charts to see how your number goes in comparison to your competitors. Now, here's the easier way. If you guys are running Market Tracker in Helium 10, you don't have to go through fancy charts or anything. This is super simple. If you are tracking in Market Tracker in Helium 10, your product, along with all your competitors, your direct competitors, look at this number right here. This is called the market volume. This is what is important, all right? So market volume will tell you, is the market as a whole going up as far as sales goes? You can see for like the last 2 weeks is fairly steady. Like there was a peak here where it went to like $23,000 overall estimated monthly sales for the whole coffin shelf niche. So if your sales are going way down, but the market volume is staying the same, that's when you get worried. That's when you're like, yes, your sales are down, but not coffin shelf sales, right? Now, if the market volume here in Market Tracker is going down and your sales are going down, there's nothing much to worry about. You just know that, hey, it's just a slow week for coffin shelves. The number here that you need to be worrying about is the second graph, which is the market share. All right. You can actually track your market share in this third graph. And so you can see that it says here, my market share was 44%. And then there's a dip here. Now it's 35%. But look, after that 35%, I'm just going from 30 to 33% every single day. So regardless of if my sales are down, that is not the key metric. I'm looking at my market share. All right, because that's when I need to be worried. If my market share all of a sudden drops from like 30% to 15%, what does that mean? That means other competitors are taking up my chunk of the pie, and that's when you really need to be worried there. All right, so guys, no more posting, please, of is my are your guys' sales down? My sales are down. You don't need to guess or ask people on Facebook. Who knows what somebody's selling beach balls. Their sales are down. What does that mean to you, who's selling cell phone cases? No, use the BSR charts, or if you've got Helium 10 Market Tracker, make sure you're tracking your market share and the market volume, and you're never going to have to worry about, are my sales down compared to my competitors? You'll have that information handy. All right, last thing I wanted to give you guys a heads up. AM/PM podcast. It's not the Serious Sellers podcast. AM/PM podcast is the original podcast. I want you guys to go give it a download. We have a brand new host, the legend himself, Kevin King. All right. So you guys can just look for AM/PM podcasts on any podcast app and hit download, especially Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Or you can go to ampmpodcast.com or look up AM/PM podcast on YouTube. That's all of these ways you can get all the episodes. He's already done like 2-3 new episodes under the new format. So make sure to check it out. Give it a follow. You're definitely going to get some high level information from the king himself, Kevin. All right. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the Weekly Buzz. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye now.